The first jar. That night I waited till the moon was up before trying to open the box. I do not well know why, but it seemed the right thing, and I followed my instinct, feeling that it might be the plant that made me think as I did. I drew up the blind and laid the box on a table near the window, where the moon shone full on it, and waited to see if anything else occurred to me. Suddenly I heard a sort of metallic snap. I went and looked at the box. Nothing appeared on the side nearest to me, but when I turned it round, I saw that all along the side which the moon had shone upon, there was a line along the metal. I turned another side to the moonlight, and another snap came in 2 or 3 minutes. Of course I went on. When the moon had made a groove on all 4 sides, I tried the lid. It would not come off yet, so there was nothing to be done but continue the process. 3 times I did it. Every side I turned to the moon thrice, and when that was done, the lid was free. I lifted it, and what did I see in the box? All this writing would be very little use if I did not tell you, so it must be done. There were 5 compartments in the box. Each of them was a little jar or vase of glass, with a round body, a narrow neck, and spreading out a little at the top. The top of each was covered with a plate of metal, and on each plate was a word or 2 in capital letters. On the one in the middle there were the words unge oculos. The other jars had 1 word apiece, aures, linguam, frontem, pectus. Now, years ago I took great pains to learn the Latin language, and on many occasions I have found it most useful, whatever you may see to the contrary in the newspaper. But seldom or never have I found it more useful than now. I saw at once that the words meant anoint the eyes, the ears, the tongue, the forehead, the chest. What would be the result of my doing this, of course I knew no more than you, but I was pretty sure that it would not do to try them all at once. And another thing I felt, that it would be better to wait till next day before trying any of them. It was past midnight now, so I went to bed. But first I locked up the box in a cupboard, for I did not want anyone to see it as yet. Next day I woke bright and early, looked at my watch, found there was no need to think about getting up yet, and, like a wise creature, went to sleep again. I mention this not merely by way of being jocose, but because after I went to sleep I had a dream which most likely came from the plant, and certainly had to do with the box. I seemed to see a room, or to be in a room about which I only noticed that the floor was paved with mosaic, in a pattern mostly red and white, that there were no pictures on the walls, and no fireplace, no sashes, or indeed panes in the window, and the moon was shining in very bright. There was a table and a chest. Then I saw an old man, rather badly shaved and bald, in a Roman dress, white for the most part, with a purple stripe somewhere, and sandals. He looked by no means a wicked or designing old man. I was glad of that. He opened the chest, took out my box, and placed it carefully on the table in the moonlight. Then he went to a part of the room I could not see, and I heard a sound of water being poured into a metal basin, and he came into sight again, wiping his hands on a white towel. He opened the box, took out a little silver spoon and 1 of the jars, took off the lid, and dipped the spoon in the jar, and touched first his right eye, and then his left with it. Then he put the jar and the spoon back, laid the lid on the box, and put it back in the chest. After that he went to the window and stood there looking out, and seemed to be very much amused with what he saw.